Hey, this is Matt Duckworth from Deal Camp. One of the biggest challenges faced by people who come to us for help in buying their first business is that whenever they talk to bankers, the bankers aren't taking them seriously, which has essentially locked these people out of the business buying game. So today, I'll tell you a quick story to show you exactly how to overcome that challenge. So this is a few years ago. I had a very ambitious, bold, hardworking friend. His name's Joe, who had saved up some money working as a construction crew manager for almost a decade to buy his own construction company. Now, Joe is like this guy. He gets along with everybody, a great sense of humor. Everybody loves him, which made him easily fall into the graces of a general contractor who we'll call Bob. And Bob was about to retire. So in short order, Joe gets a deal worked out to buy Bob's company. Good price, good terms, everybody's happy with it. And with this good deal in hand, Joe thought it'd be really simple to get financing from a bank. However, his lack of connections with bankers became a real problem. So every time that Joe discussed this deal with bankers, he was turned down, and he kept hearing the same thing repeated, which is, you don't have the net worth, you don't have the experience to do this, you've never owned your own company, so we're sorry, we can't help you. Now, after about 15 rejections, Joe was really beaten down. He was confused. He had to go tell Bob that he couldn't do the deal, and the conversation with Bob was not pretty. Bob ended up pulling the deal completely, and it's really damaging to their relationship. So the days following that conversation were really hard for Joe, as you could tell. And but he wasn't about to take it laying down, so he calls one of his mentors, Rick. Rick's a very wealthy retired general contractor. And Joe explains to Rick what happened, and being the wise mentor that he is, Rick looks at Joe and says, let me tell you the story of the first deal I ever did. Maybe this will help. So I was 26, I had no money or banking connections, but I had a good reputation, and a man who had agreed to sell me his business. And so in order to get the business deal done, I went and met with my local attorney who I went to church with, just to tell him about the situation. So he walks me straight over to the bank, into the manager's office, and he tells the manager, you need to give this boy the money and he needs to buy this business. And it turns out that that attorney was a good friend of the bank manager and the bank's attorney. So that introduction is what opened up the opportunity for him to get that deal done. And Rick tells Joe, you just need somebody to vouch for you too, like that person did for me. So after listening to all this, Joe gets a little bit more pep in his step. He's happy now that maybe he can get this done. And Rick opens up his Rolodex, and finally Joe gets a term sheet from a bank. And so he drives over to Bob's office when he gets the news, and Joe's sweating bullets still. He's wondering what Bob's going to say whenever Joe tells him this. So Joe walks into Bob's office and basically says, hey, how you doing? And Bob says to him bluntly, hey, I could be a lot better, Joe. And Joe said, listen, I know I failed you. Give me a minute to show you something. So Bob's right away like, I don't have time for your games, kid. Leave me alone. And Joe basically says, I'm not playing games. I'll go away if this doesn't convince you. Is that fair? Would you give me a chance? And Bob's like, fine. What is it? So Joe pulls out the envelope and puts it on Bob's desk. And so Bob, he reads through everything, and then he pushes it away from him, and he looks at Joe, and he's like, how do I know that this is real? You could have just photoshopped all this or something. And Joe's like, it's real. I promise you. And knowing Bob that would say this too, Joe pulls out another document and slides it across Bob's desk, and Bob skims through it, and finally he's like, you'll guarantee me closing. He's reading this off this paper. And if it doesn't close, you'll pay me $100,000. And Bob's basically like, you're crazy. And Joe tells him, listen, I may be crazy, but I'm really serious. I want to close this deal. Let's get this done. What do you say? And Bob looks at Joe, and he basically says, okay, let's do it. But if you don't close, I'm collecting that $100,000. So they shake hands, deal done, all good. And they go on to close the deal. Joe worked on that company like really, really hard over the next few years and made it a great success, great story, but it almost never happened. And so the moral of the story is this: If you don't have personal credibility, learn how to borrow it. There's a system to do that, and if you follow those steps, you'll get better results. So if you'd like to learn more about how to get your deal financed, click on one of the links around this video, or visit dealcamp.co for the free training on how to get financing for your deal. And as always, like, subscribe, and share, and hope you enjoyed it.